What if the Denver Broncos decide not to take a running back in the first round of the draft? What direction could they move at that position? We think about the Denver Broncos' remaining needs heading into the draft. Running back is probably the most glaring need. Then there's tight end, there's D-line, there's to an extent wide receiver, but I think the Broncos are happier with their wide receiver room than us as fans and media are. However, I do believe that the Broncos are going to be in position to take a premium player with the 20th overall pick. And I think that they're going to have a chance to add some premium depth at wide receiver, defensive line, maybe inline tight end, especially if Colston Loveland were to fall down there. I think that you have a lot of options. And running back is going to be an option, but I think that it should be a lower option on the Denver Broncos priority list with the 20th overall pick. I'm not a fan of the Broncos drafting a running back in the first round. I keep seeing mock drafts. It's either Omarion Hampton or Travion Henderson to Denver in round one. Quite frankly, I would rather go Henderson than Hampton, but that's a different conversation for a different day, a conversation that we will have soon. But let's just say that the Broncos draft either Kenneth Grant or Derek Harmon or Emeka Egbuka or Luther Burden. I'm just throwing out some names at premium positions, or Colston Loveland with the 20th overall pick. Where do they address running back? Because right now, the Denver Broncos don't have a true starting running back on their roster. They've got Jaleel McLaughlin, they've got Audric Estime, who they feel really good about, but they don't have their RB1 entering 2025. And I do believe that there are going to be some RB1 options in the second, third, fourth round. I want to bring in this article here from Chad Jensen of Mile High Huddle, a very well done article, basically breaking down all of the running backs that are going to be available in each round for the Denver Broncos from 1 to 7. And I want to add a couple of other names to this list who are not there, who I believe deserve some recognition. In round 1, you've got your Ashton Genty, who is at the top of the list. Omarion Hampton, he's gotten a lot of first-round buzz this draft cycle. I don't think he's a first-round player personally, but he's pretty evidently going to go in the first round. We'll just see where. Then you come down here, and in round 2, Travion Henderson is listed here, but I would not be surprised at all if he ended up moving up to round 1. I think that he's a higher graded player actually than Omarion Hampton is. So I would much rather go in the direction of Travion Henderson if the Denver Broncos were going to take a running back in the first round, or maybe trade up in the second round to get him if he were to fall that far. You also have Quinshon Judkins, Henderson's running mate at Ohio State, and then you have Caleb Johnson out of Iowa. I absolutely love Johnson. I think that he's got 3-down potential in the NFL, and I think that he's got potential to be a bell cow type of back. Johnson in the second round would be extraordinarily good value, and I would even be a proponent of trading up in the second round to get Johnson as well. I like him so much. I don't quite like him as a first round player, but Johnson is actually one of my biggest draft crushes in this year's draft cycle. I would be more than over the moon if the Denver Broncos were to come away with Johnson in round 2. In round 3, we've got Cam Skattebo, who I'm not the hugest fan of. I don't think his running style translates to the NFL. It's tough, man, because I know a lot of people like him, but round 3 is way too rich for my blood for Cam Skattebo. Then you've got Dylan Sampson, who I like, and like Chad Jensen mentions here, he could be more of a joker type player for Sean Payton. He could be a mismatch nightmare at multiple different positions, and I think Sampson could be good value here. DJ Giddens, he's a little bit more of a power back, kind of more of the Audric Estime type mold. They're not exactly the same player, but they're similar enough to where I don't know if DJ Giddens would be the pick here for the Denver Broncos. Then we come down here into round 4, and there are some really intriguing names in this round 4 category. And of course, this isn't an indication completely of where these players are going to go, but these are just some potential options that the Denver Broncos might have in each and every given round. And some players I really like here: RJ Harvey, Damian Martinez. By Shaw Tootin, I always mess up that name. Devin Neal, I like him a lot, and Ollie Gordon. I really kind of have an infatuation with all of these players. Gordon is probably the guy who I would have the lowest grade on out of these guys, but I still really like Gordon. I think that another year at Oklahoma State might have benefited him, but I still really like him, and I think he's got some high upside as a player. But Devin Neal has been getting buzz to Denver pretty much ever since the early draft process. I think he could be really, really intriguing. Tootin is an interesting one to keep an eye on here. If you could get Bashal Tootin, again, sorry if I'm butchering that name, in the 4th round, I think that could be really good value. And Martinez is a guy who has kind of risen up draft boards recently. Then we come into round 5. We've got Jarquez Hunter, Jaden Blue, who I really like. I think Blue could be a really dynamic player in the NFL, filling multiple different roles, maybe that Joker type player. Brashard Smith out of SMU. I think Smith rose his stock at the beginning of the draft process. I think Smith could be a really intriguing player in the 5th round. And then you got Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. Not the highest on Trevor Etienne personally, the little brother of Travis Etienne, but we'll see where he ends up going. But I really, really do like Jaden Blue. Yes, as this article does mention, he's got some fumbling issues, but if you could look beyond the fumbling issues, he's a dynamic athlete that's a mismatch nightmare in space. I really like Blue. He's probably my favorite player out of that group. Round 6, Jordan James, Kyle Monangai, Raheem Sanders, Jaquavius Marks, Kalel Mullings, and Taj Brooks. I gotta be honest, Mullings I have not watched a single ounce of tape on, so I cannot comment on him whatsoever. Taj Brooks, I saw in person down at the Shrine Bowl. I think that he's a really hard-nosed runner, very physical player, but again, he's more of that power back type of nomenclature. I don't know if that's the direction that the Denver Broncos want to go. Jordan James out of Oregon, he's a former college teammate of Bo Nix, so that could provide some intrigue. Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers, I got an in-person look at him as well. I think he's a really solid runner, but might not fit what the Denver Broncos are looking for at that position. You've got Raheem Sanders, and then I talked about Taj Brooks already. So again, some good players here, but it starts to fall off. A guy that I do want to add to this list, however, is Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, the running back out of Arizona. He's a guy who did not play last year because of eligibility issues, but when you look at his tape, especially at the University of New Mexico, he's got RB1 potential, and I got an in-person look at him as well at the Shrine Bowl and was really, really impressed with what I saw. He was a guy who was not afraid to dish out contact as well as absorb contact in pass protection. That was something I really loved to see. He laid the wood on players and finished every single run in a practice environment, which you don't see with every single player. That's a good sign. Additionally, I really, really like his vision, his contact balance. JCM is a guy who's not getting enough love. I love him as a prospect. If you could get him in the 6th round, maybe even the 5th round, I'd be okay with taking JCM in the 5th round. He probably wouldn't be your first option for running back. I think Denver will take a running back higher than that. But if you want to go 2 running backs in the draft, JCM could be excellent value. Then we come down here to round 7. LaQuaint Allen out of Syracuse, saw him at the Shrine Bowl. Donovan Edwards out of Michigan and Marcus Yarns out of Delaware. It does start to fall off here towards the end, but there's some good value here in the mid-rounds, in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round that I just don't see why the Denver Broncos should go out there and spend a 1st-round pick on a running back. That's just me. Again, man, I understand that there's an argument that running back could be the last position to take the Denver Broncos offense to the next level. I just think that you could still get a player who will take this offense to the next level in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round. That's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, Broncos country, I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you think the Denver Broncos should take a running back in the 1st round. If so, which one? And if they don't, Who do you think they should take, and in what round should they take him? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.